the technical advisor on food security, nutrition, and resilience program for ECOWAS, representing the ECOWAS Commissioner for Agriculture, Mr. Salif So, to the high table. Yes. I would like to invite the Director of PCU, Dr. Bright Watagere, to the high table, please. Welcome, sir. Let me invite the representative of SILS to the high table, Mr. Bauer. And to the high table, representing all the permanent secretaries here to the high table, we want to invite the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture, Adamawa State, Hajia Aisha Umar, to the high table. You're welcome. With the permission of the Permanent Secretary, sir, I would like to recognize the Permanent Secretaries from the states. Thank you very much, sir. In no particular order, I want to recognize Mr. Haruna Girma Das, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture, at Bauchi State. You're welcome, sir. Want to recognize Dr. Musa Kolore, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture, Yobe State. Also with him from Yobe State, we have Alhaji Hamidu Alhaji, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Health. All the way from Borno State, we have Alhaji Bulama Gana, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture. Permit me to welcome the Permanent Secretary from the Ministry of Agriculture, Gombe State, Barrister Opel Yaji MNI. You're welcome, sir. From Katsina State, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture, Alhaji Isaac Ahmed Karufi. You're welcome, sir. Also with him from Katsina, we have Dr. Kabir Mustafa, the Permanent Secretary, Health. From Plateau State, I have the pleasure of welcoming the Permanent Secretary of Agriculture, Pharmacist Abel Goto, MNI. From Kebbi State, we have the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture, my big brother and friend, Mr. Joel Aiki. From Jigawa State, we have in our presence Malam Abbas Yau, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture. With him is his counterpart from the Ministry of Health, Dr. Salisu Mazu. From Kano State, I have the pleasure of welcoming Alhaji Balarabi Hassan Karai, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture. From Benue State, we have Mrs. Margaret Ikpe, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture. Already seated in the high table is the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture, Adamawa State. You're welcome once again. Yes. Also with us virtually is the country representative of the World Food Program and the person of Mr. Paul Howe, who is with us remotely. You're welcome. Also with us, we have Alhaji Ibrahim Usman, the Magayakin Bakura, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture. And from the FCT, representing the Agri Secretary, we have Malam Yahaya. You're welcome, sir. All our partners, we recognize your presence here, both those that are physically present and those that are that have joined us virtually. We recognize your presence. I'm sorry, Mr. Permanent Secretary, sir. As you know, the culture, let us rise for the national anthem. One, two, go.
One nation bound in freedom, peace and unity.
Thank you very much. Let me use this opportunity to recognize all our partners, both financial and technical partners. There are numerous to mention, but permit me to recognize the FAO, sales here present, the World Food Program, the USAID FuseNet, EcoAgris, Oxfam, Save the Children, Mexico, CARE, IPC, the list goes on. Please forgive me if I didn't mention you, but we recognize all our partners here. Quickly, we'll go to the program without wasting much time. The Cadre Harmonise analysis results presentation. We will start by the welcome address to be delivered by the Director of PCU, Dr. Bright Watagere. Dr. Bright.
Good morning. The Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Agricultural Development, Dr. Ernest Umahi here. The FAO country representative, Mr. Fred Cafero. The country director, World Food Program. The director, SEALS. Other federal directors here present. The state permanent secretaries, State Ministry of Agriculture and Health here present, representatives of the UN agencies, specifically SEALS, FAO, World Food Program, FuseNet, ECOWAS, UNICEF, Save the Children, and all others here present. Other dignitaries here present, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. As have been introduced, my name is Dr. Bright Watagere, the Director of Projects Coordinating Unit, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. And here is my welcome address. I am pleased to welcome you all to the presentation of the outcome of Cadre Harmonise analysis of food and nutrition insecurity of the 16 northern states in Nigeria and the FCT. The CH as a robust tool of food and nutrition insecurity analysis has been adopted in the ECOWAS sub-region and the Sahel. Since the last 1 week, the national and international analysts that make up the state and national CH task force have been busy at the 3 centers in the country located in Adamawa, Kano, and Plateau states, examining the inventory of various reliable types of data and evidences that could be used to determine the severity of food and nutrition vulnerability. Further, the analysis seeks to assess and classify the zones in the 16 states and the FCT into the phases of food and nutrition insecurity, as well as estimate the population experiencing food and nutrition crisis in the concerned states. I would like to inform this August gathering that the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development has taken into cognizance the need to continually track the trend of food and nutrition insecurity situation in the country, as the importance of the knowledge and information generated from the CH analysis cannot be overemphasized. The results and outcome of the analysis provide early warnings, which are vital for planning and decision-making regarding various government intervention programs. The Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development will always support initiatives that are geared towards increasing household and nutrition and national food security, and sustainable livelihood initiatives that promote stable economic development in the country. Thus, the effort of SEALS, the FA of the United Nations, World Food Programme, FuseNet, and the humanitarian communities in implementing and sustaining the CH processes in Nigeria is highly acknowledged, and we commend them. I therefore encourage all participants to make positive contributions that will enhance the quality of the analysis and report. This will no doubt make the document more useful and acceptable to government, humanitarian agencies, and the international community. We will continue to broaden the horizon of collaboration with the relevant stakeholders to sustain the implementation of the CH in the country, and in keeping with the recommended standards. We also assure partners of government readiness to take appropriate actions relating to the outcome of the CH analysis. In this regard, I wish all participants here a very warm welcome and successful deliberation. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Thank you very much, sir. Next, we'll be taking the goodwill message from ECOWAS to be delivered by Mr. Salif So, the technical advisor on food security.
I think I prefer to stand. Good morning, everybody. Permit me, please, to stand on this existing protocol. On behalf of Economic Community of West Africa States, ECOWAS, Commissioner of Agriculture, Environmental and Water Resources, Mr. Sekou Sangare, I have the honor to deliver the Commissioner's speech in this event of a CS outcome presentation. This was a particular workshop. He is actually appointed for another obligation at the Commission level. First of all, I would like to immensely thank the Permanent Secretary, Federal Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, the Director of Project Coordinating Unit, facilitating CH implementation through Nigeria, for inviting ECOWAS to take a part of food security and an early warning debriefing meeting today. Secondly, my particular greetings are addressed to technical partners for their consistent support to the federal government and state stakeholders of Nigeria to jointly implementing CH since 2015, especially ECOWAS, Department of Agriculture and Water Resources, Sales Agreements, FAO, WFP, UNICEF, FuseNet, IPCGSU, international NGOs and local NGOs. I'm extending my great thanks also to financial partners, including mostly EU and USAID. I don't want to say the name of all of them, but there are most of partners that are supporting the CH framework in Nigeria and West Africa, including most data collection, analysis, and capacity building activities. Without those financial support, I'm very quite sure that we cannot get those achievements. Last but not the least, I would like to express my special thanks to all stakeholders for their engagement to develop the CS program, meaning the state and federal sales members, including food security and nutrition experts and communicators. We remain together for more and more achievement, including in this perspective, the extension of CH across Nigeria. Those have played a key role in terms of regional and international food crisis prevention and management networks. Most of you may not know that CH outcomes is today the main references in terms of food security analysis worldwide. Through project and RPCA, which is our international network on food crisis prevention and management. The Cadre Harmonise has been adopted as a unique tool to assess the vulnerability analysis, particularly the food and nutrition and security through the Sahel and West Africa region. It classifies the severity of food and nutrition and security to support mostly the decision-making by linking information to actions. For ECOWAS, this is the major challenge that we need to do, making a link between our information systems and also the decision-making to try to avoid or to manage or mitigate ongoing crises across the whole region. We all have adopted the CH framework for a better assessment of those various stocks and for better response planning across the region. Within this context, one can imagine how important the outcome of CH analysis is for ECOWAS, firstly to help to respond to ongoing crises, and secondly to mobilize government, respective 15 government members of ECOWAS, and also the partner, international, including national and international partner resources for implementing the response to alleviate those food crises that are happening across the region. For ECOWAS, then, the CH is a platform that can help to plan the response to food crisis and nutrition crises, such as to determine the mobilization of ECOWAS food security reserves that and facilitate also the decision-making at national and regional level on food and nutrition security and strategical program. These food security reserves have been the main tool for ECOWAS to tackle this response program across the 15 regions. For 3 years now, some countries have already receiving for the first time or second time or third time food allocation to alleviate food insecurity and nutrition insecurity across West Africa region. Nigeria is one of most important recipients of these food stocks from regional food reserve of ECOWAS. West Africa population is growing at 2.7 per annum, creating the potential for a demographic dividend, as well as significant challenges for policymakers. The current security crisis, mostly than COVID-driven trade restrictions, are threatening to trigger food import depend region and mobility restriction, population displacement. Those had immediate effects on food supply and demand, with stock expected impact on food security and nutrition outcomes. ECOWAS has been supporting CH implementation since its first beginning through ECOAGRIS for the last past times, and also through ongoing projects, current ongoing projects such as Payajana Sanat, supporting to ECOWAS from Nigeria. Despite the current counting issues, ECOWAS is willing to continue and will continue to support such decision-making framework through advocacy at countries level, at the regional levels, and at international levels. The outcoming World Bank, ECOWAS, SEALS, IMOA, and CORAF project on the resilience and food system will also provide an opportunity for countries and the regional institutions like SEALS, IMOA, and ECOWAS to provide additional resources to supporting related food and agricultural crisis prevention and management activities, which include, of course, CH and early warning food system submit. That should be adding also to that, which can be the worldwide food system submit that we are going to have through December 2021. Before I finish my remark, I would like to share with all of you the recent assessment on early warning food security information system outcome addressing recommendation to follow as we move forward. There is a real need to increase the human capacities within our national, regional food security early warning system. This includes national, I said, with 15 state members of ECOWAS, plus another countries from SEAL system like Chad and Mauritania, which are not part of ECOWAS, but also it includes also the regional bodies, mainly SEALs, in terms of capacities, of human capacities, resource capacities through agreement center. This is a real challenge that we all need to face because Cadre Harmonise is growing without any such of support. We will be end up one day, I'm not sure that we can continue to doing such kind of outcomes that we are earning year by year. There is also a real need to tackle the sustainability of a framework to undertake an advocacy toward the highest political level. Authorities for including food security and early warning system into their political agenda to meet the sustainable development goals, especially the SO1, which means to help to eliminate hunger, food and malnutrition, which is actually our main goal through our different systems. There is also the need from state member ownership for implementing CH activities. And we are thinking for Nigeria to extend more CH, then that means there is a need to also allocate more resources for CH to become again strongly and strongly. Strengthening state early warning system, as I thought before, and the response planning to be able to regularly collect data to feed CH analysis and to make these strong links between information and response, which is our major challenge today. As we anticipate the result presentation today, I will be finishing. Please let us follow the presentation on the current CH March 2021 outcomes and associated recommendation for our joint response planning to prevent food and nutrition crisis. God bless.
Thank you very much. Please permit me, before I call on the next presenter, to recognize a few persons here with us. We have from the Northeast Development Commission, Mr. Ali Ado. You're welcome, sir. Also with us is Mr. Vincent Owan, representing the DG NEMA. You're welcome, sir. Right now, we'll be taking the goodwill message from the World Food Program Country Rep, Dr. Paul Howe. He will be speaking it with virtually. You have the floor, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be with all of you, and I appreciate the opportunity to join, even if only virtually. I'm really grateful, and I'd like to just stand on existing protocols. Listen, I've been here almost 2 years. So this is I think my fourth CH launch, and maybe fifth if we talk about the June update that was given in the middle of last year because of the COVID situation. In looking at each of these launches and seeing what's come afterwards, two things have really struck me. The first is just how important this process is. A little bit like our colleague from ECOWAS said, this isn't an assessment or a product that sits on the shelf. This is really used immediately to make decisions that affect people's lives. So WFP, we change all our planning based on what the CH results are, but we're just part of the larger national process for planning to respond, especially in the Northeast. But the interesting thing is that the results don't just stay in Nigeria. They're part of the regional overview, as ECOWAS has said, but I know they're also discussed in our global headquarters for the United Nations. So for all of us in New York, in our headquarters in Rome. So this is a really important product that really does matter and have an impact. And I know it's been so helpful to the World Food Program as we've kind of traced the patterns and trends in the Northeast in particular, with the growing insecurity, then the COVID situation, and that combination of the two and how that's changed the food and nutrition situation for us. But I think another really important aspect for this particular launch is the incredible data that we now have in the Northwest. And there's been a lot of concern about how that situation is evolving, and to be able to get clarity on that is an incredible contribution. So again, an incredibly important process. But the second takeaway that I've had from my experience with the Cadre Harmonise here in Nigeria is that it's an incredible partnership and an incredible effort in that respect. I was talking to our senior person with WFP who works on assessments, and he's been in many countries around the world and supported different regional bureaus. And he said he's never seen a process in terms of the collaboration in partnership for doing the assessments as good as the one here in Nigeria. And I shouldn't start with naming all the great entities that have contributed, but the National Bureau of Statistics, the National Program for Food Security, the National Population Council, all the NGOs that we work with, all the partners that are assembled on the panel today. That joint up effort really adds to an effective process. We reached 8,000 households that we surveyed in the assessments this year, and it really adds credibility. So this is not just an important process. It definitely is that one that's used, but it's one that's also now very credible because of the excellent partnership we have. So we're very proud to be part of it and very excited to see the results, because it will truly shape the direction for our approach, for the wider approach in Nigeria and globally, and really affect people's lives. So well done to the team who's been working on this, and we wish you all the best as we look at the results and then try to take our actions going forward based on them. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much for that goodwill message. Mr. Permanent Secretary, sir, permit me to recognize some very important members in our midst. I want to start with our coaches that have been in the centers, particularly the Chairman CH Committee, Mr. Martins. He has been of help. Mr. Martins, can you stand up for recognition, please? Also, we have Mr. Diop. Mr. Diop has been wonderful. We recognize you. One of our key experts left for Senegal, Mr. Marshall. We recognize his contribution. And our overall coach, Mr. Power, please, we appreciate you. They have been the one taking us through and supporting us technically with their physical presence at the state analysis level. I also want to recognize all the National Task Force team members for a job well done, and the state CH team, the coordinators. Please, can you clap for yourselves? Now, we'll be taking the goodwill message now from FAO, the country rep, His Excellency Fred Kafero.
Thank you so much. Good morning, colleagues. Good morning out there. It's good to hear your voices. Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, Dr. Ernest Umakie. The Permanent Secretaries of State Ministries of Agriculture and Health from the different states who are here, and also the senior government officials at federal and state level who are here as well. My colleague, the country director for WFP, my brother Paul, development partners who have joined us this morning here physically, but also virtually. Representatives from regional organizations, and I want to recognize the representative from ECOWAS here, representatives of UN agencies who are here, and international and national NGOs who have joined us, Cadre Harmonise Technical Committee, distinguished guests present here in the room, but also joining us virtually. You are all very welcome. We are here once again, like we were sometime back, a few months back, to jointly receive the results of the March 2021 Cadre Harmonise analysis for the 16 states and the Federal Capital Territory. This is a culmination of a highly engaging technical process by stakeholders in the food security and nutrition sectors in the country. The exercise of analysis of data at state level started last week simultaneously in Yola, Adamawa State, in Jos, Plateau State, and in Kano State. But that was just that exercise for last week. Certainly, by the time you reach there, there's a lot of work that has been done in terms of collecting this data. And we really appreciate all these efforts. So allow me to commend the efforts of the CH Technical Committee that conducted this exercise and consolidated the results that we are about to receive. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I also wish to commend the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development for the leadership of the CH analysis, facilitated through the National Program for Food Security. I think my colleague Paul mentioned about the commitment that and the uniqueness that we have in this country with regard to this process. One, the consolidation of partners, but two, the leadership that we get, and for that we want to thank the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. We, as the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, FAO, are grateful for the wonderful collaboration that we enjoy with other partners in providing technical and financial support to the exercise. I want as well to note the following stakeholders that we work very closely with: the Permanent Interstate Committee for Drought Control in the Sahel, the World Food Programme, the United Nations Children's Fund, the European Union, the French Development Agency, and the United States Agency for International Development. Other stakeholders that we closely work with in this exercise include Famine Early Warning Systems Network, the FuseNet, Integrated Food Security Phase Classification, IPC, International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies, Oxfam, Administration for Children and Families, Save the Children Fund, Catholic Relief Services, REACH, Plan International, Caritas, the food security sector, Mercy Corps, and others. So you can see quite a broad range of stakeholders that really come together for this exercise, and this is really a unique feature for Nigeria. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Cadre, Harmonise, or CH as it's commonly referred to, is a regional framework for consensual analysis of acute food insecurity situations among West African countries. The exercise, which has now been adopted by the Nigeria food security stakeholders since 2015, aims at applying the outcome of the analysis in preventing food crisis by identifying those areas and populations that are affected and profiling appropriate measures towards improved food and nutrition security and livelihoods. Subsequent CH analysis results in Nigeria have become the major yardstick for estimating the areas and number of people in need of humanitarian assistance. This is as presented in the annual humanitarian needs overviews and the humanitarian response plans, especially in the three northeast states of Borno, Adamawa, and Yobe. This analysis is happening at the time when we are still grappling with the COVID-19 pandemic and its impacts. The pandemic and measures taken for coping with it have largely led to disruptions of livelihoods, as people are constrained to carry on with their daily activities, including agriculture and food production. This has in turn resulted into serious livelihood disruptions with severe negative implications to food security and nutrition. The current analysis follows the one that was conducted in October-November last year that showed that more Nigerians in northern states suffered acute food shortages, mainly due to prolonged armed insurgency, impacts of climate change and climate variability, and all is compounded by the negative economic impacts of COVID-19 pandemic. The analysis revealed that about an estimated or slightly over 9 million people in Nigeria were in acute crisis or worse food insecurity in the last quarter of last year. It is our hope that the March 2021 CH will give a clear, up-to-date picture about the current food security situation and what actions are required to improve food security situation in those affected populations. At this juncture, I would like to reiterate our commitment as the United Nations and as FAO in working with government and with all partners in responding to the crisis and strengthening resilience of agricultural livelihoods of vulnerable groups in affected states. Food security and nutrition are at the core of our mandate as a specialized agency of the United Nations. And we are determined to make our contribution in improving the situation of food security and nutrition. In conclusion, let me wish you all fruitful deliberations. With no doubt, the results that we are going to hear will plan for effective measures. We'll ask for policies and decisions for addressing the recommendations which will emanate from this important analysis. This is the only way we all can work together to guarantee adequate food and nutrition security for the vulnerable populations in Nigeria.
Thank you very much, sir. Permit me to recognize one of our key facilitators during the analysis from the Regional Bureau of WFP, Mr. Ats Gamli. Mr. Permanent Secretary, sir, permit me to invite Hajia Aisha Umar to give a goodwill on behalf of the Permanent Secretaries here present.
To stand on the existing protocol. Good morning, all. I don't have much to say, rather than on behalf of all the state permanent secretaries from the 16 states and FCT to appreciate what the Cadre Harmonise have been doing in these states. They have been facilitating, going around to generate information on food, nutrition, and security. Especially, I am from one of the states that was hit by the Boko Haram. In fact, since 2014, Adamawa State have been battling with the issue of Boko Haram. Therefore, we have to be very appreciative and grateful to the Cadre Harmonise and pray that they will continue to be doing what they are doing. And therefore, I am very grateful, delighted, and pleased to be here today. This is my first time of attending such program. Therefore, Cadre Harmonise, on behalf of myself, all the permanent secretaries from the 16 states, that is permanent secretaries of Agri and Health from the 16 states, and FCT, we are very grateful and appreciative, wishing us all a successful trip back to our various destinations after the deliberation, that is the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hajia. Now I have the privilege and honor to invite the Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, Dr. Afolabi Omar, here to give a keynote address.
Good morning, all. While I maintain the existing protocol, I want to recognize the FAO rep, Dr. Fred Cafero, and I'm particularly delighted with the attendance of the state permanent secretaries. It's very encouraging. Recognize all other states and non-state stakeholders. Ladies and gentlemen, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development is pleased to welcome you all once again to the presentation of the results and outcome of the Cadre Harmonise analysis for the 16 northern states and the FCT. The Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development is sincerely grateful and applauds the unquantifiable effort of all local and international partners whose financial and technical contributions have been instrumental to sustaining the CH analysis in Nigeria. It is in this regard that I would like to specially acknowledge the support of SEEDS, FAO, IPC, World Food Programme, FuseNet, ECOWAS, Save the Children International, Food Security Sector in Nigeria, and others not mentioned. Thank you all. I'm aware that the state-level analysis was conducted from the 8th to 12th of March 2021 in 3 centers of Borno, Kano, and Plateau states, while the consolidation workshop was held in Abuja from the 15th to 18th of March 2021 to validate the outcome of the state-level analysis. That must have rounded up yesterday, and today we are here. Today, being the 19th of March, these results are being presented to government and all stakeholders in the food and nutrition security sector as not just an early warning alert, but also as an inevitable programming decision tool to guide prompt and apt action to avert food and nutrition security crises across the analyzed states. The March 2021 CH analysis comes in the face of the pronounced threat to food and nutrition security, occasioned by the economic stress faced by several households due to the lockdown and restriction measures to curb the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic in Nigeria. Globally, the economy is struggling with this new normal, which may not be surmounted in a long while. This brings to bear the several challenges to FNS in the country, thereby igniting the need for government at all levels to build resilience to avert the imminent food crisis in the country and the region at large. The results intend to better inform and comprehensively review the populations affected by food and nutrition challenges, alongside the phase classification of risk areas in the local government stroke zones and states analyzed both for the current, that is March to May 2021, and the projected period June to August 2021. The government of Nigeria realizes the importance of the CH analysis as it relates to effective intervention programming and resource allocation to prevent further deterioration of the FNS situation in identified vulnerable areas. Consequently, the management of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development has approved the expansion of the CH activities to other states of Nigeria, so as to achieve a nationwide coverage. The general expectation is that this approval will facilitate the generation of a global view of the food and nutrition insecurity situation in Nigeria, thereby necessitating appropriate actions. We therefore appeal to our technical and financial partners to come to our support in actualizing this vision. As we have gathered to discuss the findings from the March 2021 CERCO with the FNS stakeholders, which is the 10th in the series for Nigeria, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development would like to assure all partners of government's commitment to upholding and applying the outcomes, which we know gives insight on the key drivers and limiting factors of acute food and nutritional insecurity in the country. And of course, the recommendations towards addressing the challenges. With this in mind, I therefore call on all participants to contribute positively to the discussions and debates in this workshop to enhance the quality of the results and reports of the analysis. Your inputs and contributions to the discussion are well valued, and it will enhance the acceptability of the CH results to a wider spectrum of stakeholders in the food and nutrition security sector. On this note, I have the honor to declare this workshop open and wish us all a very successful interactive deliberation. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Let's give him another round of applause for the federal government of Nigeria taking ownership or taking the front drive of this process to expand it to other states. So once again, we say thank you. And also to state governments that have been supporting this process. First of all, I want to appreciate Kano State government. This circle, they supported the process by providing funding. Also, I want to appreciate the Borno State government. They had provided venue before the change of, so due to logistics, the venue was, so we are appreciating, and also all other state governments for their support. This is the time to take ownership of this process. It should be in our budgetary position so that though we'll still be having support from our technical partners, but when we own it, it will be for us all. And I'm glad that the map will be seen in some time to come. Will be showing the whole of the country. Thank you very much, sir.
Nobody will not fit to make a move. Nobody will not fit to make a move.
So let me use this opportunity to call on for our first presentation. That is introduction to the Cadre Harmonise process, methodology, and application. I'm inviting Mrs. Esther Ladan, a member of the National Task Force, to just take us
briefly through the process. So, Mrs. Estalada.
Standing on existing protocol, I'm going to briefly introduce the process and methodology and application of the Cadre Harmonise. Cadre Harmonise is a unifying tool that helps to produce relevant, rigorous, consensual, and transparent analysis of current and projected food and nutrition situation. It's classified the severity of food and nutrition insecurity through a process or approach that is well defined by functions and protocols. It's not moving. It's not moving. I have 5 steps of the CH process, and the first one is the inventory of evidence. As we all know that Cadre Harmonise, it is not a data collection system, but it values the data from existing systems. So for the inventory of evidence, data is being collated from different sources, such as government and non-governmental organizations. The next step is analysis of the evidence and reliability score. This takes into
Line in. Bluetooth connected.
Hello. Sorry for the interruption. Step 3, area classification for current and projected situations and the analysis of confidence level, while I have step 4, the population estimation, and step 5, reports and communication of results, and that is why we are all here. List of analysis table. These are the various list of analysis table that is in an Excel, and it consists of a worksheet that is being used, and it is performed in a logical sequence. Contributing factors, they are the key drivers and limiting factors that brings about positive or negative changes to food and nutrition security outcomes. I have the key driver, and for the key drivers, I have hazard and vulnerability, while I have the limiting factors, availability, accessibility, utilization and access to safe water, and stability. The food security outcomes are the basic elements on which accurate food and nutrition insecurity classification is based. They can be documented with direct evidence or inferred based on the contributing factors. And there are 4 of them: food consumption, livelihood change, nutrition status, and mortality. A description of the phases and objective of priority interventions. In the Cadre Harmonise, we have different phases for the classification of food and nutrition insecurity. That's to know the severity. And we have different phases rating from phase 1 to phase 5. As you can see on the screen, I won't be able to read out all these things, but you can just take your time to quickly go through. I have phase 1, which is the minimal. I have phase 2, stressed or under pressure. I have phase 3, crisis, and the phase 4, emergency, phase 5, catastrophe or famine. Population are being classified according to severity of food and nutrition insecurity using these phases. Data used for the analysis, we quite appreciate the effort of WFP that was able to carry out essential needs assessment, and the other organizations that collaborated and were able to get data for the analysis. Because without data, there is no how you can be able to conduct the CH analysis. It's never possible, because we need evidences from already existing systems. And as you can see, we have different type of data being used, like a food consumption score, household dietary diversity score. We have hunger household scale, reduced coping strategy index, livelihood change, HD, that is HEA for the SD, survival deficit, and the livelihood protection deficit. And also IPC, acute malnutrition. Yeah, you can see, according to states, we have different data that were used for the analysis. Our centers for states analyzed during the 2021 cycle. These are the centers used, and also where each of the states fell into. Methodology, the revised version of the tool, Harmonise version 2.0, was used to analyze the acute food and nutrition insecurity situations with respect to specific areas and populations affected for current period, which is March, April 2021. That is March to April and May 2021. And also the projected period of June, July, August 2021 for the 16 northern states and FCT, because when we carry out the current analysis to be able to classify population according to the severity of food and nutrition insecurity, we also project what will happen during the lean season, because we want to know the population that will be at risk of food and nutrition insecurity. And you can see that we have 16 participating northern states, including FCT. Unfortunately, I think we still have 3 northern states that is yet to be captured in this CH analysis. And I think it would be a nice one if we can extend this analysis to the remaining 3 northern states in Nigeria. The analysis was conducted at local government level for Adamawa, Bauchi, Borno, and Yobe states. But you can see for the remaining states that I have below it was conducted on senatorial zone level. Why? We don't have sufficient data evidence to carry out on local government level. This is the 12th round of the CH analysis conducted in March 2021. For Borno, we have 4 inaccessible areas. That is Abadam, Guzamala, Pukawa, and Malte. They are inaccessible, and we have to analyze, despite the fact that people can't get to the area to be able to carry out survey or assessment, but actually there was phone calls from returnees from these areas, and that is why we are able to analyze the inaccessible. And also in Borno State, we have 12 partially accessible local governments. And as time goes on, the second presenter will be able to talk more on that. Why analyzing accessible and partially accessible areas? The analysis of inaccessible areas lead to more representative appreciation of the food and nutrition security. At least from the analysis, we will be able to know how people are faring over there or what will likely happen in another scenario. Inaccessible area analysis for the Bay States, I think I've talked about that. And for Adamawa State, the partially inaccessible area that was analyzed was Madagali, and for Yobe, we had Gaydam and Gujiba. Yes, you can see we have the states, the local governments in each state, For those that were analyzed according to local government, for those on zonal level, we can say it, and the partially accessible local government analyzed. For the inaccessible, that is what is on the screen. Yes, we do appreciate and all our gratitude to our technical partner and financial partners. And at this point, for everyone present, we do appreciate you and thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Madam Esther, for that brief on the process. As you can see, the process is rigorous, and it took the experts and the CH team time to look at these things so that you will get the results. Before I call on the next presenter, let me recognize Alhaji Sabiu Ismail, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture, Kaduna State, that just arrived. Permanent Secretary, sir? Okay, he's here. Oh, you're welcome, sir. At this junction, let me invite Mr. Daud Bulama to present the outcome of the CH analysis for the 16 states and the FCT. Mr. Bulama.
Good morning. Once again, permit me also to stand on the already established protocol. The March cycle results for the Cadre Harmonise is as follows. As the first presenter has already mentioned, 4 states were analyzed at LGA level. Then the remaining 12 and FCT were analyzed at zonal level. However, in the Northwest, also analyzed states like Zamfara, Katsina, and Sokoto. We also analyzed the IDPs in those states. So, okay, in maps, we want to see the situation of the maps. In maps, this is how the state looks like. This is the current situation of Adamawa State. Only Madigali is in crisis currently, while Yola North is at minimal phase currently, while the remaining LGA in Adama are under pressure. While during the projected period, Madagali will be in emergency, while Michika and Mayobalwa are in crisis, while the remaining LGA of Adamawa State will be under pressure. For Borno State, 4 LGA currently are under emergency. Mate, Mobar, Gubio, and Abadam are under emergency, while the headquarter, Maiduguri and Jere, are under pressure. Now, in the southern part of the state, aside Askira-Uba, Chibok, Biu, Haun, Kwayokusar, and Biu, all are under pressure. The only state at minimal, the only LG at minimal phase is our local government. This is mainly attributed to the nutrition results, which is very good. There's at minimal phase, and the food consumption, all are for mainly. But during the projected situation, more LGA will probably be an emergency. About LGA, Kala Belge, Dikwa, Mobile, Abadam, Kukawa, Gubio, and Guzamala are all in emergency, while the remaining LGA in the northern part of the state and the central, aside MMC and Jere, will be in crisis. In the southern part all the LGA will be in crisis with the under pressure, with the exception of Askra Uba and Damboa, which are already in crisis, which will be in crisis. But the remaining LGA in the southern part of the state will be under pressure in Borno State. For Yobe State. For Yobe State, currently, Gujiba Gulani, Tarmoa, Gaidam, Yunusari, and Karaswa LGA are under crisis. The remaining LGA of Yobe State are under pressure. But during the projected period, about 4 LGA only will be under pressure, while the remaining LGAs will be under crisis. Potescum, Nangere, Bade will be under pressure, while the remaining LGA of Yobe will be under crisis. For Bauchi State, the northern part like Zaki, Dambam, Shira, and Jama'are are under pressure currently, while the remaining LGA of Bauchi State are at minimal phase. But during the projected period, Al-Kaleri, Kirfi, and the LGA in southern parts, about 6 are all at minimal phase, while the remaining will be under pressure during the projected situation. Gombe. For Gombe State, currently, all the LGA are at minimal phase, but during the projected situation, most of the LGA in the northern part, Duko, Nafada, Axis, they will be under pressure, while the remaining LGA would be at minimal phase in Gombe State. For Taraba State, currently, we're not able to analyze Taraba because we don't have direct evidence to do that. However, we were able to update the projected situation. This is the projected situation. That's why you're seeing Taraba in this color, because it was not analyzed due to insufficient direct evidence to analyze Taraba State. So the PS should note and see how next time we'll be able to analyze Taraba, please. Now, during the projected situation, this is how Taraba will look like. Most of the LGA in EP axis will be under pressure, while the remaining LGA in Taraba will be at minimal phase. FCT. For FCT, Buhari and Abuja Municipal are at minimal currently, while axis Gwagwalada, Abaji, Kwali, Ikuje are under pressure. And during the projected period, it remains the same. Buhari and Abuja Municipal remain at minimal, while the remaining 4 will be under pressure. For Niger State, LGAs around the eastern part of Niger, Shiroro, Boso, axis are in crisis, while the LGA at the west, like Kontagora and others, are under pressure, while the remaining LGA will now currently at minimal phase. But during the projected situation, it looks the same. Probably it will look the same. The LGAs around Shiroro, which will remain in crisis, while this around Kontagora axis are still will be under pressure for Niger State. For Plateau, northern part of Plateau, not just east, Riom axis, all are under pressure currently, while the southern parts are mostly at minimal phase. During the projected situation, it remains the same, will remain the same probably. So for Benue, currently this is the situation of Benue. The state is at minimal phase, but during the projected situation, most of the parts in the western part, the LGAs will be under pressure, while the remaining LGA of the state will be at minimal phase. For KP is just like Taraba, currently sufficient direct evidence to analyze KP. That's why you can see the map in this form. But the update of the projected situation will probably look like what you are seeing on the screen under pressure. Sokoto State. For Sokoto, currently, the southern part like Tambuwal, Shagari, all these LGA are under pressure, while the northern part of the Sokoto State at minimal phase. But during the projected situation, all the states will be under, all the LGAs in the state will be under pressure. For Zamfara State, currently areas of Bakura, Gumi, Bukuyum, Anka, they are all under pressure, while the Gusau, Tafe, Maru axis, they are at minimal now. But during the projected situation, Zurumi and from the northern axis would be under crisis, while all the other parts of the state would be under pressure for Zamfara State. Okay. For Katsina State, currently the Daura zone is at minimal, while the Katsina zone is at crisis and the Funtua zone is under pressure. During the projected situation, both Katsina and the Funtua zone will be at crisis, while the Daura zone will be under pressure. Kano. For Kano State, the northern part of Kano is under pressure now, while the southern part is at minimal phase. But during the projected situation, all the zones will be under pressure. Jigawa. For Jigawa, currently all the zone is at minimal phase, but during the projected situation, aside the Hadeja axis, the Borneo, that will be at minimal, all the remaining, the two zones here will be under pressure. Kaduna. For Kaduna, currently, Birni-Ngwari axis, Kaduna South and North, and the other LGAs in the zone, they are all in crisis, while the two other zones of Kachia, Azaria axis, they are all under pressure currently. And during the projected situation, the situation will probably remain the same. Now, this is the states that have been analyzed, 16 and the FCT, as you can see in the map of the country. This is Borno with 4 LGA at emergency, while you can see the crisis situation even in Katsina, part of Kaduna, and as well Niger State. All this area is signifying crisis, while the one in yellow meaning is under pressure. Only Adamawa North and our local government, but not Adamawa North local government in Adamawa State, that's Yola North, they are at minimal. If you see the whole of the state, so far from the northeastern state, while you can see others are in pressure, face the yellow color. Now, but during the projected situation, you can see the situation of Borno, signifying about 8 LGAs in emergency, one from Adamawa State, that's Madagali. You can see the crisis in Katsina, Kaduna, and Niger State. Now, looking at the current and projected period of the 16th state and the FCT, is also a call for concern in the northwestern states, like Katsina, even Kaduna, Niger, and even the Zamfara you can see the projected situation, how it looks like. There's a lot of pressure here, meaning they are tilting towards crisis. So it's a call for concern for all stakeholders. Please, you can see how the situation will probably look like during the current situation. Now, these are the main key drivers among others that lead to the crisis, emergency, under pressure we just saw from the states. Now, the key drivers, mainly the first one there, insecurity, which has to do with the insurgency, the kidnapping across the zones, the states, and the LGAs. This impact directly on the livelihood household in these communities. And also this conflict is also there, herders and farmers, and the impact of the COVID-19, which has seriously affected the household income, as well as other livelihood activities, is still with us here. This is what most of the evidence we used in the analysis shows, among others, as key drivers of this food and nutrition insecurity for the March cycle 2021. While the limiting factors include both fiscal and economic access to food due to poor market functioning in some locality, access to the market is still a challenge. High food prices is also one of the limiting factors, and other income activities and loss of job and other livelihood activities. This has really affected households in all the communities. That's why you are seeing from pressure phase to emergency phase in across the states, LGAs, and zones. Now, also limited food stock availability and very poor dietary diversity diet. The nutrition information, even the one from the IPC, the acute malnutrition, shows ranges from crisis to emergency, mostly. Very few LGA that had minimal and under pressure, but majority of the LGA and the zones shows a very poor nutrition level at household level in the community. And also poor wash practices, water and sanitation practices at the community as well as at the household level. Now, population estimation. This is the population estimation for the current situation, showing the population of persons in each of the phases, from minimal to emergency out to phase 5, which we don't have any population. But population that require urgent attention during the March cycle analysis is about 9 million and plus. Also 9,169,122. These are the population that require urgent attention, and you can see the distribution per state across. As I've said earlier, this time around, WFP, MBS, and partners were able to conduct assessment in Katsina, Sokoto, and Zamfara. That's why you can see even the IDPs have been analyzed, and this is the situation of the IDP in these 3 states. So while we look for the situation in the northeastern 3 states, Yobe and Adamawa, there's also another call for concern in the northwestern state of Sokoto, Katsina, and Zamfara. So the current situation, the projected situation, this is how it may probably look like. According to state, these are the population that require urgent attention, while the overall population for the 16 states and the FCT is above 12 million, almost 12.9 million require urgent attention. So this is the trend of the CH so far from 2015 to where we are now. You can see at times there will be improvement, then there will also be a rise. Currently, this is what we are projecting to be during the projected situation. About 12.8 million may require urgent attention. You can see the trend is going up and down. So there's need for stakeholders to note that and provide urgent intervention so that those at risk will be taken care of. So just for emphasis, we want to see the Bay State, Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa. This is the situation for the 3 states. You can see even currently, this is how the map of Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa. This is Borno with 4 LGA under emergency, with only 1 LGA in Borno and 1 that's Yola North, that minimal phase from all the LGA in the 3 states. These 2 LGA is mainly attributed to the good nutrition values we had during the analysis that that they are now currently at the minimal phase. But all other LGAs is calling for attention. Though these 2 LGA being at minimal phase does not mean all is okay. But however, because there will be pressure from all the neighboring LGA, which will affect this. But if you look at the projected situation for the 3 states, you can see what was projected it's calling for concern. So for the key drivers in these 3 states is similar to the general. Just for emphasis, we have the issue of the insurgency. The kidnapping is also there. The impact of the COVID is also there. And while the limiting factors is just like the general, where we have poor access to market, high food prices, limited income and livelihood activities, limited food stock at a household level, poor water and sanitation practices. So for the 3 states currently, this is the population that require urgent attention. You can see the distribution of the 3 states. While for the projected situation, about 4 million and above may require urgent attention for the 3 states, while for Borno alone is above 2 million. So we want to also appreciate all the following partners have contributed in one way or the other with the government of Nigeria, both the state and the federal level. This is the situation of the March cycle 2021. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bulama. We can see the figures. Currently, the situation, we have 9.1 million that are in need. And if nothing is done, by June, July, August, that number may jump up to 12.8 million. And probably you don't understand these figures. But to win an election, if I have 12 million from that zone, it's a big number. So when you relate to it that way, then you understand the need of that people. It's a big number. So we should look at it carefully. Now, what is the way forward? Recommendations. So I want to invite my friend and brother, Yvette Tolman, Dr. Brian Bayaso, for the way forward and recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. James. Permit me to stand on the existing protocol. Okay, thank you. Permit me to stand on the existing protocol. I will be presenting the recommendation for the March cycle 2021 CH analysis cycle. We have heard what the previous presenters have put forward in terms of the methodology and the result. So this is what is happening? Is it hello? Okay, thank you. Okay. So in terms of recommendation, the recommendation is divided into two. For the policymakers, our principals are here, and to the technical and financial partners. So to action by policymakers, to government and to the humanitarian agencies, our appeal to them is to sustain the implementation of life-saving interventions, food assistance, and unconditional cash transfer. All this is to help in improving or building resilience and then the livelihood of the vulnerable population in the affected areas. Then another thing we need to also look into, because we know the impact that COVID-19 has, and there is need for us to look into the area of relaxing some of this restriction in areas where they still exist, so as to allow the return of markets to full functionality, which will help households in sourcing alternative livelihood activities, because it will help them have access to market. Is it? Okay. Then one recommendation is the government should sustain the various empowerment programs. We have so many empowerment programs, and towards restoring the medium and small medium enterprises, but more focus should be made to vulnerable population in these analyzed states to enable them get a new start off for their livelihood. We have so many interventions ongoing, so there is need to sustain those even by the federal government, so that there will be, restoration of livelihood. In addition, there is need also to adopt the CH analysis result for planning and policy formulation with a view to addressing the food and nutrition challenges in insecure population. We have seen population of phase 3 to 5. So there is need for our principals and those in government, our PSCs that are here, there is need in our policy, in our budget, to consider this population in areas that are in phase 3 to 5. Even those in phase 2 need to be assisted, so that to build their resilience so that they don't fall to phase 3. So we need to take that into consideration. And then there is need to sustain and then to strengthen the security operatives in trouble areas with a view to opening up access to areas that are inaccessible, so that the vulnerable population or those that are totally or partially inaccessible for humanitarian intervention can be accessed. They have mentioned some local government, 12 in Borno State. We have one in Adama and one in Yobe. So if the security is strengthened, areas can, be made accessible for them to get assistance to improve their food consumption. Then there is need for budgetary support for implementing CH activities at both national and state level. We have seen some states, Taraba and Kebbi State, in the current projection, nothing happened. It's not because there is no capacity to do the analysis, but because of the issue of data. We have been saying this over and over. And our appeal to our principals here is to make sure that the data is made available, and there should be adequate provision should be made for the conduct of the food security assessment. We have learned that in Adama State, Borno and Yobe, as well as in Katsina and other states, analysis or assessment were conducted that will give us the true picture of things. But in other states, what happened is that proxy is done, food consumption. So there is need for this to be taken into consideration by our principal, and then there is need to provide funding for upscaling to other states. So we appreciate the representative of the Honorable Minister who said that other states will be, taken into consideration, so that we'll have a global view of food and nutrition insecurity situation in the country. And then to our technical and financial partners, this is our request and appeal that there should be continued. Partners should continue to jointly support the timely conduct of food and nutrition assessment to ensure the provision of both quantitative and qualitative data for CH analysis. We have seen some states where data were not, available, and in the current they couldn't do the analysis. So there is need for that to be done. So we appeal. And then there is need also to continue to complement the efforts of the government implementing the recommendation from the outcome of CH analysis, especially as it affects the population and areas identified to be at risk of food and nutrition insecurity. We have partners here from the World Food Programme and others. So there is need, including SEALs, to continue to support this process and to their financial partners to look into this. Then, as I conclude, there is need to broaden the scope of support given to the National Program of Food Security and the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development for the implementation of CH activities, especially now that the government intends to scale it up to the CH activity to other states. And this cannot be done without funds. So there is need for budgetary allocation as well as budget release so that it can be done timely for the 2 cycles in March and in October. And finally, there's need to continue to support the technical capacity for strengthening the national and state CH task force members in the analysis of food and nutrition security assessment, and then the household economy analysis HEA for sustainability of the CH process. Because as the process continues, there is need for that to be sustained. And thank you for giving me that attention as we see this thing. Yeah, no.
Thank you very much for those recommendations. And I believe our principals that are here, the permanent secretary, you see the need for assessments in the states. So I want to, as a member of the task force, plead with you that before the October cycle, let's see assessment at state level. And I'm sure the technical partners are willing to support you in this process. Please, we'll be glad. I know last October, FCT were able to conduct, and I want us to sustain this activity. And I'm glad that we have a big support in the presence of the Northeast Development Commission. Please, for the Northeast, we can work to see that we support the states in these assessments. With this, I want to thank you and open the floor for discussion. So now the floor is open for discussion. My director here, with your permission, you have the floor.
Well, thank you very much. We all have listened to the presentation and the recommendation that have come out of this whole exercise. I think as a way forward, I think sometimes, like this particular analysis is done twice yearly. And I don't know how the different states normally upscale this kind of results to the chief executive or to the policymakers of those states. Because the result of this analysis is enough justification for asking for more funds for the agricultural sector. And I think that maybe as a way of trying to institutionalize what we do with the result, I think for subsequent presentation, there might be a need to have a feedback, both from the federal and the states, to see what they did with the result of the previous, like if you want to do the one of September, there's a need, in order to institutionalize what we do with the result, there's a need for both the federal and the state to give a feedback to this house to see what each of the states or at the federal level, what they did with the outcome of the result. How has the outcome of the result affected policies and funding in the agricultural sector? I think if we continue along that trajectory, if we continue like that, it will be a way of actually advocating for more resources and to place emphasis and to modify programs towards the areas that are very food insecure. I'll stop there for now. Maybe I'll come in later. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that. I'm glad that it's coming from the head, from the federal ministry. So this gives me hope that we'll be getting feedbacks on what did you do with the outcome.
My name is Haruna Girmadas, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture, Bauchi State. My own is to express our appreciation, as Haji has earlier said. This result has benefited us, especially we from Bauchi State. I think when the result of last year was obtained, the sales officer for the CH in the state presented the outcome of the result to the management of the ministry. As a result of that, an information memo was forwarded to the governor of the state, where we requested for the release of funds to at least buy some grain for our strategic stores. As a result of this, the sum of 150 million naira was made available to the ministry, where we purchased assorted grains worth such amount. As I'm talking to you now, all processes have been completed for the disbursement of these grains to the risk-affected areas and those areas that are at risk, under pressure. And this year, as a result of this outcome, a permanent head was created in the budget called the Strategic Grain Purchase. This year, His Excellency has already graciously approved the sum of 200 million naira for the continuation of the program. So I think the CS analysis have really assisted the state. I will call on all our colleagues here to pressurize on their various state government, at least to conduct the state level analysis, which we were supposed to have carried this year. But due to the information was received very late, I call on the organizers of this CS analysis in future to forward the request to us earlier so that we can forward it to the executive governor of our various states so that we can make necessary arrangements to conduct the state analysis at our own level. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's appreciate Bauchi State once again. And my peers, sir, I just want to ask for the process, if we can allocate 0.01% of that sum to the survey, it will really help.
Yeah, thank you very much. Let me also join the earlier speakers to congratulate the Ministry of Agriculture, Federal Ministry of Agriculture, for this very important feat in addressing the food security in the country. My name is Dr. Kabir Mustafa, the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Health, Katsina. The picture for Katsina State is really quite gloomy, looking at the projection. One very key important factor that we might need to address in it is the insecurity. If we see the areas that are going to go into crisis very soon, they are all areas bordering Zamfara State. And that is where we have, especially that insecurity, where we have this banditry and a lot of things happening. And unfortunately, that area also happens to be where our agrarian farmers do a lot of crop production. So until and unless we are able to address the security issue, I believe we'll be having this problem for a longer time. So both the states, I believe, and as well as the federal government are doing their very.
So now the floor is open for discussion. My director here, with your permission, you have the floor.
Well, thank you very much. We all have listened to the presentation and the recommendation that have come out of this whole exercise. I think as a way forward, I think sometimes, you know, like this particular analysis is done twice yearly. And I don't know how the different states normally upscale this kind of results to the chief executive or to the policymakers of those states. Because The result of this analysis is enough justification for asking for more funds for the agricultural sector. And I think that maybe as a way of trying to institutionalize what we do with the result, I think for subsequent presentation, there might be a need to have a feedback, both from the federal and the states, to see what they did with the result of the previous, like if you want to do the one of September, there's a need, in order to institutionalize what we do with the result, there's a need for both the federal and the state to give a feedback to this house to see what each of the states or at the federal level, what they did with the outcome of the result. How has the outcome of the result affected policies and funding in the agricultural sector? I think if we continue along that trajectory, if we continue like that, it will be a way of actually advocating for more resources and to place emphasis and to modify programs towards the areas that are very food insecure. I'll stop there for now. Maybe I'll come in later. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that. And I'm glad that it's coming from the head, from the federal ministry. So this gives me hope that we'll be getting feedbacks on what did you do with the outcome.
My name is Haruna Girmadas, the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Agriculture, Bauchi State. My own is to express our appreciation, as Haji has earlier said. This result has benefited us, especially we from Bauchi State. I think when the result of last year was obtained, the sales officer for the CH in the state presented the outcome of the result to the management of the ministry. As a result of that, an information memo was forwarded to the governor of the state, where we requested for the release of funds to at least buy some grain for our strategic stores. As a result of this, the sum of 150 million naira was made available to the ministry, where we purchased assorted grains worth such amount. As I'm talking to you now, all processes have been completed for the disbursement of these grains to the risk-affected areas and those areas that are risk under pressure. And this year, as a result of this outcome, a permanent head was created in the budget called the Strategic Grain Purchase. This year, His Excellency has already graciously approved the sum of 200 million naira for the continuation of the program. So I think the CS analysis have really assisted the state. I will call on all our colleagues here to pressurize on their various state government, at least to conduct the state level analysis, which we were supposed to have carried this year. But due to the information was received very late, I call on the organizers of this CS analysis in future to forward the request to us earlier so that we can forward it to the executive governor of our various states so that we can make necessary arrangements to conduct the state analysis at our own level. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's appreciate Bauchi State once again. And my peers, sir, I just want to ask for the process, if we can allocate 0.01% of that sum to the survey, it will really help.
Yeah, thank you very much. Let me also join the earlier speakers to congratulate the Ministry of Agriculture, Federal Ministry of Agriculture, for this very important feat in addressing the food security in the country. My name is Dr. Kabir Mustafa, the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Health, Katsina. The picture for Katsina State is really quite gloomy, looking at the projection. One very key important factor that we might need to address in it is the insecurity. If we see the areas that are going to go into crisis very soon, they are all areas bordering Zamfara State. And that is where we have, especially that insecurity, where we have this banditry and a lot of things happening. And unfortunately, that area also happened to be where our agrarian farmers do a lot of crop production. So until and unless we are able to address the security issue, I believe we'll be having this problem for a longer time. So both the states, I believe, and as well as the federal government are doing their very best, but we hope we'll be able to curb this menace of banditry around that area so that it will allow the farmers to go back to farm and do what is expected of them. Currently, a lot of palliatives have been sent to all these areas, but this is a temporary measure. I believe the permanent measure is getting that insecurity out of the state, and we'll all put hands on deck to ensure that it's done, and I believe we'll have a better situation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Katsina State. FCT.
Thank you. Let me first and foremost thank the organizers of this program. Most particularly appreciate the FAO, WFP, and other key stakeholders for bringing us together. And I want to also sincerely thank the key stakeholders, particularly the state coordinators, for going through a lot of stress. As somebody who has been the stakeholder, I know the stress they go through to do this analysis. Please, let's commend them for the effort they are doing. And yeah, one aspect that I think is also good for us to do from here to enhance our participation is that I assume that since we've gotten a result like this, I think it's good, even the Federal Minister of Agriculture, who is coordinating the food security, can officially write the state with this kind of result to show them the effort, what is needed now. I'm sure if a letter comes from the Federal Minister of Agriculture that, look, for your state, look at these local government that are having stress, and then even any support that can be addressed to them, that can work fine for us. I think that's a good way we can start as well. One aspect I wanted to observe in the reporting actually is that it appears nobody took note that climate change is an important factor. And as we were looking at the drivers, you only mentioned security, and I think climate change play a greater role. Even the head of farmers, climate change is another factor contributing. So I think we should also start emphasizing the need for us to do an all year round production activities. I know in some states, during the rainy season, there were floods. There were even stoppage of rain at one point in time, which affected the production. So all these, I think, are factors that are also we can. So I want to encourage ourselves, we leave here, go back to our state, let us see what can we do to add value to the system. And once again, thank you for the exercise.
Thank you very much, sir. As said, the federal government should lead. Okay, we have participants online. If you have comments, you can just drop them either on the chat box and we'll read them out. And if you want to speak, you can indicate by raising up your hand and the floor will be granted to you.
My name is Barrister Obeleaji MNI, Permanent Secretary from the Ministry of Agri, Gombe State. While I associate myself with others for commending the organizers of this program, particularly the Federal Ministry of Agri and Rural Development, our technical and financial partners, as well as our state coordinators. By analysis, I've observed that Taraba State had not been analyzed, and I believe it can be other states. The reason could be maybe financial issue. So I'm pleading passionately with the Northeast Development Commission to please come to the aid of some of these states that I believe it was a financial analysis that have not been. I believe with time, if they come to the aid of these states, all this analysis will be easily obtained. And not only the analysis, but even training the other staff who may go into the field. Thank you, this is my passionate appeal.
Okay, that is in addition to the state government's effort. They are seeking support from the Northeast Development Commission. Any other comments? Question? Okay.
I am Elue Dominic from Federal Ministry of Health. I think there's one important aspect that we have to also look at. Our chief executives from the technical and the bureaucratic aspect of the two major MDAs are here, that is the agri, the health. But there's one important arm of decision-making body that we still been leaving out, the Governors Forum. I think this result also need to be presented at the Governors Forum, whereby the indices from various states will be presented to them. And these are the major players in the releases of funds in states. If they see the degradation that is happening within their states, I know some of them are aware of some of the things that are happening, but they do not know the magnitude and the population that requires urgent need. I think at that fora, they will be able to appreciate what is necessary to be done and the needful will be done. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Indeed, it is key for the Northern Governors Forum for now. Then when we expand it, the Governors Forum in totality.
Thank you very much. I am Joel Aiki, FAMSEC Agri. I just wish to corroborate what the last speaker said. I made this suggestion last year that we will need to have the chief executives fully informed, fully engaged, and then they will be able to make commitments commensurate to the bad figures that we saw displayed on the screen. All those figures displayed on the screen represent human beings. A president won election in this country with figures less than the projected 12-point-something million human beings. So it is significant. It is monumental. So we need more pragmatic steps. And that will include transferring this information to where we would have a good response. Just memos to their excellencies would have limitation in action and response. We suggested ways and fora where you can have these chief executives in place so that you can reach to them directly and get their commitments right there and then. It will be more effective. I also want to leverage on what the ECOWAS presented. They're already using the results of CH to identify places that will need food interventions, and they are doing it. I think that we need to collaborate more with ECOWAS because of the magnitude of the people that will need these supports to draw from those ECOWAS food reserves to support what we'll be able to do as a country and also as states. And finally, I really want to commend the efforts of the CH team. I visited a session last year. It is not easy. It took commitment. It took doggedness. It took all the sincerity to put up these things in place. I commend you. You deserve more than a clap, quite frankly. But I want to also drop in something here. You can see that nationally and globally, these results are appreciated and decisions have already been made from the results, which means it will take our commitment to be very careful about data. We have to collect real data so that we can have excellent presentation of the situation as it really is. It is not easy. So we will need to have a mechanism to support data collection and generation and study across the states. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Once again, I really appreciate the Federal Ministry of Agriculture. As at October analysis, right when we were discussing the results, before the end of the day, the result was already at the table of the Honorable Minister. That I'm aware of. Then the following week, I know it was taken to the highest decision-making body of the country. I know that. So I want to commend that swiftness from the Federal Ministry of Agriculture. And I want our principals here to key into that to the state governors. If we can, from the Federal Ministry, it got to the President. I think the Permanent Secretary, you don't have limitations to your governors. While we seek opportunities through other fora. Any other comments, please? Comments? Do we have anyone online? Okay. Go
yes,
ahead, sir.
Can I go ahead? Yeah, okay. Okay, thank you very much. I will actually, first of all, want to appreciate actually for this wonderful presentation and also organizing this, the Cadre Harmonise actually for the match cycle. Though FuseNet is actually participating remotely, but I can tell you actually that the process of remote access actually have improved tremendously. And I think this is wonderful, and this is also appreciated, really. All our participants actually have been accessing this remotely. I think this is wonderful. So FuseNet will also continue actually to support this process, both at the national and also at the state level, providing all the necessary technical support as well as data actually to support the CH process, particularly that we are really also expanding to additional states, or maybe the remaining states actually across Nigeria. One thing I will actually want to suggest really is to indicate that yes, subsequent presentations actually for the result on the last day of this consolidation actually should be covered live on national television, you know. So this will, the expectation is that actually this will really facilitate advocacy, particularly that we are actually targeting the states really to own the process. And I think for them, really, if we can televise live through NTA or any other television, actually, we have the AIT, we have channels and so many of them actually that can televise this live for decision makers who are not able to arrive actually at the venue. I think this will also facilitate the process, assist states CH coordinators as well as permanent secretaries who are also coming in for this process. And I think this will be wonderful. So thank you very much once more. Again, actually, FuseNet appreciates all partners and all the decision makers who are here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, FuseNet. And I know as one of our key, the support you give us, we may want you to add the live coverage. We really appreciate if you can support that process, and other partners and state governments too, so that this process can be broadcast live, so that it could have wide coverage. That is a good advocacy option. With any other comments? Okay, this should be the final comments because of time. I know we're going for prayers.
Good afternoon, all. My name is Balarawa Sankarai, PAMSEC Minister of Agriculture. Mine also is to appreciate the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, as well as all the stakeholders that help in facilitating this exercise. My contribution is with regard to states that are not able to come up with a data for this gathering. I'm imagining if Kano State is among such states, I will imagine how I will feel. So we need more commitment from states, particularly those that are not able to provide data, because I know it is not much money
relative to the money being spent on other no important activities. I'm not saying what they are doing with their money is not important, but I'm sure with data collection, a lot of achievements in this direction could be made. So I appeal to all of us to immediately we went back to our states, particularly those that are not able to be covered through data collection, to notify their chief executives that they were even ashamed in this gathering that their states are not covered due to that reason. Finally, my state is under pressure, and I don't know how it will be before at these trying times, because considering the exodus of people to Kano State day in, day out, we don't have IDP camps, but the number of people that are driven to our state seeking for better livelihood cannot be imagined. So we'll go back to drawing board and do more further studies and be proactive to prevent the crisis situation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before I call on the Deputy Director for the closing remark. Okay, he's my principal, I don't have a choice.
Thank you very much. My name is Dr. Musa Kolere from Permanent Secretary, Minister of Agriculture, Yobe State. And just like any other state from the Northeast, I saw also that we may likely face crisis in a few months to come. And I wish to commend the CS analysis people for a job well done, especially in my state. And even last month, we had a meeting with the CH analysis cell members in my state, and we discussed some of these issues and how to approach them. And in my state, we have about 4 projects, maybe that may start within the second quarter of this year. And hopefully they may be able to reverse this trend that we see, the crisis trend maybe in the proposal, in the projected June to August 2021. We have projects like, we have an irrigation project in our state. It was originally owned by the Chad Basin Development Authority. It's called the Lava Project. It's a very big irrigation project and abandoned for a very, very long time. And we just spoke with the Chad Basin people, and we are collaborating with them to revive this project, and hopefully it will improve our large scale irrigation farmers, and hopefully it will improve the food crisis there. We also have, we are expecting maybe a World Bank project, this NCARES. So hopefully within the second quarter of this year, maybe it will come up, and we know that we are going to use the Fadama project infrastructure to go about that NKS project. And we have an excellent program there, the Fadama project. And if we are able to access that one, I think it will also improve on the food crisis that is proposed. We also have this, the Audane part, I think from the AU project, and our governor has already signed an interest with the support of almost, I think, 4 billion naira for the project. It involves crop production, livestock production, irrigation, and all that. And being agricultural economy in my state, I think with all these projects, we'll be able to improve the food security situation in our state. And One of my colleagues here mentioned climate change. And yes, it is real. Climate change is affecting food production. But the most important one is this insecurity that we are now facing in the northeast and the north central parts of this country. And we hope with these new service chiefs and maybe the situation will improve, hopefully. And we hope when we get here, maybe by September, October, June, July, August, we'll be able to see something very, very positive. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The result for the projected period, what you have there, if you don't do anything, that is what we are anticipating. But when we come for the October analysis, all these projects highlighted, we will see the impact on the real situation that time. And once again, the need for data. For me, I live, I drink, and I sleep on data. I'm a meteorologist, and I know the importance of data. So I call upon you to please try and, as much as possible in your various states, to help generate this data so that we'll have a true picture of the situation. With these remarks, I want to call on the Deputy Director at PCU, Mr. Bibi Gwadabi, for the closing remark.
The Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, who represents the Honorable Minister, and who is invariably represented by the Director of Project Coordinating Unit, and the person of Dr. Bright Wategire, all international partners here present, the ECOWAS representatives, the permanent secretaries from the various states, of the participating states, all invited partners and development groups, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. My work is very simple here. I am to do a closing remark. And between the closing remark and a vote of thanks, sometimes it becomes difficult to align to one and leave the other. However, if you find me thanking you, the man doing the closing remark should not be disturbed. If you find me analyzing what we have done from the beginning to the end, then that could also be a closing remark. Ladies and gentlemen, what has been done here today has become a milestone in the development of a working tool in the planning process of agricultural activities in Nigeria. We have seen from the beginning to the end that some states of the Federation are affected by the crisis analyzed under minimal stages, crises, emergencies, and so on and so forth. It is not funny that a country like Nigeria, where only 16 states have been analyzed, out of 107 human lives, 107 million human lives, 12 million Nigerians have fallen under that crisis reading situation. I will not go too deeper. We are all witnesses to what has happened. For us, as a partner group, for us as an organization, for us here under this fund today, the government has gotten a working tool. It has been informed, which already is within our ambits, that the federal government of Nigeria has approved the escalation and upscaling of the CH to cover the 36 states of the Federation. And therefore, by virtue of what the government has declared today, let it be known in our records that today, the 19th day of March 2021, 36 states of the Federation are part and parcel of the CH analysis in the country. We have done so much. We appreciate you. And indeed, the government of Nigeria under the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, which is the implementing agency, will not relent.
You have suggested many things. You have made recommendations. You have said a lot. Let me assure you that since my boss is seated here hearing you, rest assured that immediately after this meeting, the entire process, the proceedings, and the recommendations will be before the Honorable Minister of Agriculture today. Ladies and gentlemen, we have found ourselves where we are by the reports received from states. It is unfortunate to hear that, but then we cannot run away from where we are. We have to face it headlong. We have to work towards getting it done better than where it was. Some states that are still under the minimum stage will not relent. You do your best to see that you maintain that position, that you will not fall into the crisis-ridden states. Ladies and gentlemen, let me not bother you too much. The meeting today has been so fruitful to all of us. I urge the entire permanent secretaries that are here today to showcase what they have gotten, what they have achieved to the remaining other 20 permanent secretaries that will soon come in to join us. And indeed, like suggested earlier and recommended, the NGF, the Nigerian Governors Forum, will actually have the reports so that it can ignite policy planning and economic development in this country. Having said this, I wish to all successful journey trips back to your various destinations. Thank you for coming, and we pray that all reach back home safely. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you so much. And now let me invite the National Coordinator of CH in Nigeria, Mr. Anthony Amu, for the vote of thanks.
Please permit me to stand on the existing protocol. I most sincerely thank SAILS, FAO, WFP, UNICEF, Oxfam, CRS, Save the Children, IPC, among other partners who have contributed immensely towards the success of this analysis. I also thank the National Task Force for their able supervision during this exercise. I won't leave out the state CH coordinators. They worked all around the clock to make sure that this exercise is a success. I also thank the state government that hosted us during this period for making sure that at least we enjoy the security of the environment during the process. And I will also, at this point, also thank the Kano State government that within a very short time we sought for their assistance. They were able to assist at the state level. We are very grateful. Please, a hand of applause for them. And at the same time, we have to appreciate the Borno State government that also initiated and paid for the venue. But when we told, it was within a very short notice, we told them also. But incidentally, we changed the venue to Adamawa, and they couldn't continue with the process. Borno State government, thank you, sir. We are very grateful. And I thank you all for your able participation. The regional coach, which has been working throughout the state analysis, working hard to make sure that this result is perfect. I thank you all, my regional coach. I also, I'm so very much grateful to the media man. The media man was very active all through this period. And today you've seen the results, and we are so grateful to you. And we would like those of us who have our email so that you transfer some of these things to them so that they have a piece of it. Thank you very much. I thank you all for all your contributions and participation during this period. And I wish you all safe journey to your respective destinations. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. So we'll be closing with, we'll be going for lunch. And due to the protocol we're observing, you have tickets with 8.